Hi, friends. Welcome to the Anime Book Club podcast. I'm your host, DJ Montague.
And I'm your host, Greg. And here we review anime from classics to brand new stuff, hidden gems, and controversial favorites.
You'll hear all of our hot takes, rants,
and genius observations. So thanks for tuning in, and buckle up because the episode starts now.
By the way, friends, these episodes contain spoilers, so be careful and don't ruin this anime for yourself. You've been warned.
Welcome, everyone, to the Anime Book Club. Friends, family, field trip students, goddesses, and Magia Vander. Welcome to the Anime Book Club. Here, this is a bi-weekly anime podcast where we, your hosts, Greg, Large, Magia, Vander, and this is where you say your name.
Hi, I'm the Magia Vander, DJ Montague.
Oh, where we talk about and discuss anime together.
It's Montague, by the way, before anyone ruins my name. Anyways. Welcome, everybody. Today, we've got a pretty cool episode lined up for you. We're going to be talking about the latest 2 episodes of Wistoria. I'm going to start with that. Then we're going to talk about the latest 2 episodes of Failure Frame. I know we watched and talked about Failure Frame episode 5, but we're going to talk about a little bit of 5 and 6. And then we're also going to talk about, if we have time, we're going to talk about my dear friend Nokotan. Or Nokotan, sorry, not Nekotan. We were talking about the Neko girl's name from Failure Frame earlier and making fun of her name because her name is like Nyanten Kiki Pat.
To be fair, in Nokotan, there is a girl that has a cat name. So you're not too far off.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Anyways, so we're going to talk about at least the first 2, if not the more, and we'll also potentially 2.5 dimensional seduction.
Seduction.
What was the other one?
Seduction.
Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian.
Seduction.
Wow, Greg, that was right there in the mic. Hot. Anyways, friends, thank you for being here. Greg, how are you feeling about our recent episodes of anime?
They got something that I like to call, well, just a little case of the Ragnar Crimsons. I would say that both of them, both Wistoria and Failure Frame,
dude,
didn't have a mask on. They didn't have a mask on. They didn't quarantine, and now they have like stage 5 Ragnar Crimsons.
Yeah, I think it was really funny because like I'm okay with Wistoria right now. Like the animation being mid in the middle of the season is whatever to me because I like the storyline. But what makes me laugh is that like we were pumping up Wistoria to be like really cool and also talking about Failure Frame being dog shit, and then like Failure Frame starts to infect Wistoria because like I swear to God, we are the people that like will pick animes to watch and then they will ruin each other. And then they'll fucking ruin everything. I on my flight, I decided that I was going to ruin Failure Frame for myself, and so I read the manga. I've read all of the manga, and it's like when you watch something and you're so mad that you're just like, I just want this to be done so that I could just keep going on with my life and not think about this ever again. I just have to wrap this up. That's what I did with Failure Frame. And it's still not done, so I still have to keep reading it.
Yeah.
And watching
I'm trying
it.
to think.
It's making me sad.
What did I have that was like that? Oh, I think like Guilty Crown was definitely one of them where I'm like, dude, I hate every second of this, but I can't stop.
Yeah.
Once I start, I can't stop.
Mm-hmm.
That is my blessing and that is my curse. I will start and finish everything that I watch.
Yeah. Hard agree. So yeah, we're in a weird place of anime. I like Wistoria right now. I still think it's good. Greg's not as stoked on it because the animation is falling off. But it's the middle of the season. I think we got spoiled, like with how good JJK middle of the season animation was. Even though you hated it, Greg, I get it. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
like,
I'm not gonna take that away from JJK. Like, I mean, animation's amazing.
Yeah.
Chainsaw Man animation,
amazing.
amazing.
Hell's
And
Paradise, amazing.
I'm not gonna say it was amazing,
All right.
but
Fuck off.
I mean, it was there.
It was drawn. I saw it.
Just getting spoiled by things like gushing over magical girls,
shut
amazing,
God
dude.
damn it.
I mean, but even like Demon Slayer, right? You have Demon
Yeah.
Slayer, amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of these animes, even like Free Run, if you haven't watched Free Run, even though the story is slow, like animation, amazing when
Yeah.
stuff actually happens. But then, yeah, you just run into, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like budget cuts. I don't know if it's, artists are getting sick and they got to bring in B team, or how it actually works, because even,
I don't know if it's budget cuts, but the budgeting it has to be a factor.
yeah, I just don't know, like where it goes wrong, because I heard that with Neon Genesis Evangelion, the last couple episodes were the way that they were because of supposed budget cuts, and then they were basically like, all right, well, fucking wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't think that the animation itself took a quality drop. Like, yeah, obviously, like, it just kind of sped the story up, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
But I don't think the quality of the animation actually went down. Like, I thought the animation quality throughout the entire series was good, but then supposedly budget cuts came. So I don't know if it was one of those things where they cut episodes to save money rather than cut quality of the episodes to save money. But I mean, same with, again, like Ragna Crimson, The Witch and the Beast. I'm going to say Wistoria. I'm going to say Failure Frame. Like, I don't know what happens where somehow, the first 3 episodes, well, not Failure Frame, but for Wistoria anyway, like the first handful of episodes, I mean, even Ragna Crimson, like, I think in the beginning wasn't bad. Like, I watched it, I'm like, okay, like, I can get behind this. But I don't know what happens, like, after, like, the first handful. It's just, yeah, they just, like, take their makeup off or something and then, like, eat 16 pounds of food and then never go back to normal. That's how I feel, and I don't know why it goes in that direction. Like, why do you bait me into it with, like, something really, really nice and then decide to just, like, cut it later? I would just like to know the reasoning about it. But
I do too. I wholeheartedly agree. I think that it's frustrating when you're reeled in. It's like fishing. Like, there's so much anime coming out that it's, I assume it's really, really difficult to keep the quality just like at that like plateau, that quality, especially when you're not paying your animators all that well. We all know that the industry is pretty shit for that. Like, voice actors get paid okay. Wait, did you hear that motorcycle outside? Sorry.
I did hear the motorcycle, but it's okay.
So I think that we all know that the industry has a big issue with pay scales anyway. Animators probably get shit on quite a bit. You also don't know animators. Like, knowing the names of like voiceover artists is always going to be more prevalent than knowing an animator's name. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of sucks when it comes to like how serious we as humans take art and absorb art. It's kind of a bummer that that we're in that situation.
I feel like you can say that about a lot of industries, though.
I agree.
For art, I think that's the easiest one to hit on, because you can just be like lights, curtains, music, cameras. Like, you don't know those dudes, but the lighting and the videography and everything is what basically makes the piece of work what it actually is. Like, the timing of the music, the volume of the music, like everything.
Yeah.
But no one's sitting there like, looking at the credits and was like, man, can't wait to see my favorite, lighting guy. Got to cheer him on.
Yeah. And I think that sucks because, like, you have to break the echelon. Like, there is like a glass ceiling on these things, obviously, because you have people like Hans Zimmer, who you instantly know the name of, and you can think of like, oh, I know what he sounds like, like, but then you have artists that could probably do like a banger soundtrack, probably for like a fucking Fast and Furious 3 or 4 or a 2, all banger soundtracks. Let's be real. And you'll never know. But then you have like, all right, prime example. Do you know Who did the soundtrack for The Great Gatsby, the movie?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, it was Jay-Z.
Oh,
He did the soundtrack. Not necessarily that he did all, like, they did some remixes. It was a lot of like his and Beyonce's songs like remixed and like done differently, but that's why that shit was weird to me. Like, it didn't fit, but they got a big name to do it because why? Like, I love Jay-Z's music, don't get me wrong. I just think that was fucking weird. But shit like that, like, it's like your name just takes you way further than it should. But like, you've got artists doing great work and it's just kind of sad. But anyways, I feel like that's the situation with animators. And there are some animators that obviously have broken that mold and they'll get specifically called to do specific scenes. On like Naruto had some very famous animators. And also like you get really cool callback stuff, like people doing the bike scene from Akira and like showing homage to old stuff. That shit's awesome. Like even fucking like a girl from Bot and I were watching Solar Opposites and they did a scene from Akira. They did the bike scene. I love that shit. That shit is great, but it's like, dude, it's hard.
I think when you sign up for those jobs, at least I hope, you kind of know like what you're getting yourself into. And I think it is kind of like that whole starving artist sort of thing, right? Yep. Where, you know, you move to New York, you sell everything you have, all you have is a guitar on your back and a, you know, empty can of refried beans that you put in front so people can throw quarters into it as you play, you know, in front of the subway.
And instead of eating food, you eat the quarters.
Yeah. I think you would actually probably save money if you do that.
True that.
But I think you know what you're getting into, and these artists are trying to reach those heights of those of like Akira. They are going to be the ones to make the next motorcycle scene. Like they are going to be the ones to do the next Neon Genesis Evangelion, you know, like mind F.
Here's the deal. It's like you can be great at something, but you have to temper yourself. If I'm playing a game, if I'm playing a video game, I am not at 100% all the time. You go fluctuate between like 10% where you're just like mindlessly doing the thing into 100% where you're locked in and you're doing all this crazy shit. You cannot be at 100% all the time. It's just physically impossible. And I feel that's the same way with animation. Like, and I feel that's the same way with voice acting.
It's the same way with literally everything.
Everything, right. I mean,
except drugs. You could be at 100% and then you're going to...
And then you do some more drugs.
Yeah, you're going to come to zero pretty quick. Yeah. But you could stay up there for a while.
Yeah. I feel like we it's almost like we take for granted, but still it's like, I think that we as humans take each other for granted in totality. That's a good word. Yeah.
It's a word. Yeah.
Is it? Webster's Dictionary. Will you ask Alexa if Webster's Dictionary totality is a word? Do you have Alexa?
No, I don't use voice.
Oh, sick. We're just not cool.
I have something called the internet, and it says, yes, totality is
nice. Okay, so in totality, we as humans take advantage of other humans for our own benefit. I think that's a regular thing. And I think that when you have these animation studios that probably do sweatshop fucking labor making these dudes work 14 hours a day, it's not going to turn out really great.
I don't, I mean, I haven't, maybe someday I'll be able to kind of tour a animation studio.
I'd like to. That'd be cool.
See it kind of firsthand, what they go through, what their days are like and that sort of thing. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really speak to it intelligently.
I can a little bit. I worked in a photography studio as a kid, like when I was like 17, and like, it was like, you know, Life Touch, like portraits and stuff. I worked in the whole studio to like, after like a photographer takes the pictures, they send them to the studio like develops the pictures, and then like you place them in packets and whatnot, and it's mass produced. It's just mass produced, like to a crazy extent. So like every artist that works in the studios, they don't work on Photoshop. Everything would be done in paint. So like not like real paint, like with your hands, and you would have these pictures and you would have to like touch them up with your like actual paints and arts and crafts basically. And like then you would process, laminate, and like do all this stuff, and then you'd place the pictures in there and send them off. But those people, they got paid dog shit. They got paid like $13 an hour. And it was like $13 an hour was not super great back then, but I mean, you're not going to buy a house with that. But it's also like you're doing like a lot of very like trade labor talent work to make sure that you're looking for these mistakes and making sure that you understand like color and all that stuff. It's not simple. It's not like drawing with fucking crayons, you know what I mean? And you're dealing with people's portraits that are gonna be on their fucking mantle that they're gonna cherish forever. That shit, that bugs. Anyways, let's get back to anime.
Yeah, speaking of crayons and painting with your hands, I guess we can start with Wistoria. Episode 5. So
we're getting to a point in Wistoria where they're going to the Grand Magic Festival and they're setting up this massive like tournament arc already where the kids are competing against each other for like scouts from the tower, scouts from other regions, and like all these people in this world. Obviously magic is incredibly important, so they want mages that can do crazy shit for whatever their village or whatever it is. So it's obvious that the kids that are at this college that is next to the tower that holds up the fucking sky are going to be pretty good at magic, right? Because they're the ones that get in. Anyways, so you got all these scouts and you're basically Harry Potter 2.1, where you've got the kids riding on dragons through hoops, and then you've got the quintessential anime training tournament part where it's like we've got a fire area and a forest area and a water area and a earth area and a wind area or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like all of the elements. Anyways, so they split the kids up and Colette asks Shion to join her. Shion's like, I like boobs, I'm in. Literally, that's basically what he says. And he's like, when a lady asks you to do a favor, you do it. And it's like, okay, you don't even know who's on the team, but obviously it's Will, our boy Will. And so Shion joins the team with Colette and Will. They have to have a certain number of credits, 21,000 credits combined to enter into this competition. Workner, sorry, I was about to say Forkner. Anyways, Workner says, I told you not to join the Magic Festival, bro. And Will's like, I've got to do this to beat Julius's cheeks. And then
oh damn.
And then so begins the new tournament arc. And I think it like the animation I didn't think was terrible. They're all like running through and then Will just like pops off and goes fucking crazy. Colette makes the gauntlet for him and he's just punching holes and shit. Oh, it was cool.
No, I think the concept was okay. So Colette's like giving him earth swords and earth hands. That was sick as fuck. And conceptually, it was alright.
Execution wise,
that's kind of like where it doesn't hold up. And like, what do you have? Like portal companion cubes, just trying to like shoot ice and traps and shit at them.
Yeah. So they have like all these traps, right? They're all these cubes that turn into like golems, and then they turn into like turrets. And like the golems get fucking fried by Will just like punching all of them. Also, they're 3D animated and Will isn't, which we'll get to with Failure Frame, how they fuck that up really bad in Failure Frame. Will's 2D animated, punches 3D animated golems. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look super great. It's not like crazy compelling. Yeah.
It's not good. And for me, like this part in episode 5 where they're running the gauntlet pretty much, I thought they moved like really fast.
They move. This whole show has been fast.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. Like, you know, there was kind of like episodes 1 through 4, you have the build up for like, you know, the Grand Mage Festival or whatever that they're going to do.
Yep.
And then like literally next episode, it's just like Quidditch, butterbeer, and let's go into the forest to get like the fucking treasure chalice or whatever where Voldemort is.
Yeah.
Like that literally like back to back. And then when episode 5 starts, I'm like, oh shit, okay, they're in this fucking tournament now. is this going to be the rest of the season? No, I guess I was wrong, because literally in one episode, Will just runs through sprints. He just sprints through.
He kind of sprints through, but then the next episode does have more of what is happening. So they're still not finished with this part.
I was surprised at how fast, like, I thought it was going to be, okay, we're going to run into different groups and like, oh, we're going to have to fight and like outsmart them or do whatever. I think like, no, full sprint Will punching through golems.
Just full frontal fisting.
There's like traps that have like a, I don't know, 90-degree like detection beam or whatever, and Will's just like, I just got to get them to detect themselves, and he just does like a triple Lutz through like all of the traps, and they just point at each other and just start
fucking blasting each other.
Yeah, and then the traps just kill themselves, I guess.
Yes, but then we get the most important part of what is happening. So Julius shows up. Will is run ahead. Julius shows up, and Will is super confused because obviously Julius getting there that fast, he gets from his area to stop and block Will's team from his area. And then Shion's like, fuck that shit. Pay attention to me, daddy. And then starts shooting a fireball, the very big fireball, at Will. Colette saves Will, and then also somehow damages Julius at the same time because Shion just didn't give a shit and shot like a mega ball.
That scene with the burnt up trees,
I thought was cool.
It gave me like I think there's some sort of phobia for that, where it just looks like a bunch of little like, yeah, I think that's what it is, because it just looks like a bunch of like little nubby warts just all over it. I'm like, well, that looks gross. I guess that's what trees look like if you hit them with like a fireball. But
also, my thing with this whole thing is that when you're looking at the world in animation, you can obviously do whatever you want. And you can warp the world to look like it's in a fisheye lens. And that's kind of what they do with that scene. And that's what looks so awkward with it, because obviously there's a circle that went through the forest. But then the way that they animate it, it looks like the forest is wrapping around the frame. And I'm showing it on stream right now as well, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It warps your perception of what you would see normally, just based on it looking cool for the show, I think.
But again, I think it's execution, because there are other shows that use that kind of like fisheye distortion to show like, holy shit, look at the destruction. Like, this is fucking nutty. I think even JJK has used that style, like fisheye lens. And when you look at it, you know, it does kind of give you that perception of just like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah, this is you're unease. Like, you have an uneasy feeling.
Yeah. This was like, I went to the dollar store and then I just bought a vase that kind of, you know, had a curvature to it. And then I just looked through it, and then whatever I saw is what I put into the show.
All right. Nice. Hell yeah, brother. I didn't think it looked that bad. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I don't think it looks great, but
I'm looking at it right now, and it's like, why are the trees like fucking vertical? I know it's trying to be a fisheye lens, but it doesn't look like a fisheye lens.
Right. I agree. I get it. I agree. And it, yeah. Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. Anyways, so Shion blows a hole in the forest, mega boom goes boom, and then Will and Shion, Will has breezed through this shit. No stopping, wants to fight Julius nonstop. That's all he cares. Doesn't care about winning the game, doesn't care about getting the crown. He just wants to kill racist ass Julius, which I'm all down for. And then Shion's like, why aren't you looking at me? Why don't you pay attention to me? And then we get a flashback at the beginning of 6, I think. They did a little bit of flashback in 5 of when they were kids. And they also do it in 6. And this is one thing that frustrated me. So, like, we understand and we've established that everybody hates Will. And everybody thinks he's like a flunky or a laggard?
A laggard, yeah.
Cool. Like, unless we're developing the backstory of why Shion is a piece of shit we're still focused on why Will is still bullied. Will walks away from Shion And then he gets mad because Shion's like, well, you're a fucking lame kid. Why don't you join my lackeys and I'll protect you? And Will's like, hey, I don't need you, bro. Fuck off. And then he leaves. And then Shion's like, how dare you deny my friendship and protection, you piece of shit, because Shion's like a little fucking spoiled brat or something like that. We don't know that yet. That should have been established here, I think. That Shion was brought up as a fucking spoiled brat. Because they do say he's from this specific house of Ulster and that they are the masters of fire magic and like all this stuff. You can establish that why he's a fucking brat, but they don't.
The flashback is really weird because what I got from it, Will is just clutching his sword, being sad that Elfie is gone and he is, left here on this mortal plane by himself.
Yeah.
And, he just has basically a kick me sticker sign on his back.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then Shion was like, I think for a second was like, okay, don't be mean to the fucking guy that can't do magic.
Yeah.
But he burned the sign off.
Yeah.
And like Will, I don't even think noticed. So in that moment in time, I think Shion was like, look how merciful I am.
Yeah.
I took the sign off of you and you didn't even know. And then he's like, Will, be my friend. And then Will just turns around
say
and
it like that.
No, I'm paraphrasing now. Right. So like basically Shion saying, Will, I just want you to be my friend.
Yeah.
And Will is just like, no, I have to do something really stupid, like stare at a tower for like 8 hours.
Yeah. A day.
And not tell anyone what I'm doing. Just be a fucking weirdo about it. And then Shion's like, well, that's really weird. I don't get it. And then probably Will's like, I don't know why this guy wants to be my friend. I don't get it. So they just like fucking missed each other.
Yeah.
And then instead of being fucking adults and talking about it, Shion's just like, I want you to fight. Like, I want to kill you. To look at me. Yeah. I want you to look at me. Yeah. And then he's like, where are you? I don't see you. He's like, right in front of you. He's like, I can't see you. Look at me.
Yeah. That shit is
great. To the point where now it's like, okay, it's two boys fighting over something that neither of them like are even understanding or even get. So now Will is trying to put two and two together. Shion is just like, why can't you read my mind? Like why don't you just understand my feelings? So since Will can't understand his feelings, he just goes full rage mode and just starts summoning firebirds.
Dude.
That don't necessarily look that, I don't know, threatening, I guess. They look kind of like big and fluffy.
Oh, we forgot one part in there that I wanted to touch on. Rosti, Iris Churchill, the spy for the tower that is trying to find some next help for the Magia Vander, goes to Rosti and is like cheering on Will. And Rosti's like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? But also, we all love Will, establishing more boys love. We were talking about that before as well. Yeah. So then it jump cuts to him summoning a guardian, which is okay. They've talked about this. The team starts infighting. Shion wants to fight Will. Will doesn't give a shit. Shion summons a guardian. Before he summons the guardian, everyone that's like a scout is like, oh, this kid just ruined his fucking life. He's a fucking idiot. Like, why would you ever want to fight your friends to prove power or whatever? They're on your teammate. Obviously, this kid can't work as a team. Fuck him. Like, he might be a prodigy, but he's obviously like long gone. And then they watch him summon a guardian and they're like, hold on. What did I just say? Scrap that shit. That kid's dope as fuck. And then like... is like, oh, wow, that kid's can do some really cool magic. And you're like, yeah, but what about the stuff of we're working at a team? And he's like, shut the fuck up, dude. What are you talking about? You're an idiot. He could summon a guardian.
Yeah,
at
there's 14 no team in Guardian.
Yeah. 15 years old. This guy's summoning guardians. They start talking about how good Shion is instead of like, hey, Will's not dead. And this guy is fucking blowing the forest up. Can we talk about how this guy's avoiding all this shit yet? No, nobody gives a fuck.
No, and it's just like, dude, Guardian and Will. Well, okay, yeah, he probably was able to dodge the onslaught of fireballs because they were drawn so poorly. Will is able to dodge, like, you know, the 360 fireball dome that he makes while in tandem shooting a Phoenix at him. And then Will is just like, oh, look at the core of the Phoenix is in between the wings, and let me just, you know, fucking cut it in half.
The Phoenix makes the dome.
It doesn't matter who makes the dome, like, fuck. So Will, you know, basically does a backflip, kills the Guardian, somehow just fucking like Euro steps between all of the fireballs and gets in range of Shion, and everyone's like, yeah, you know, Will kind of sucks. You know, like, oh, look at Shion, he summoned a Guardian. That's impressive. Oh, the dude that killed the really impressive thing? Like, no, he's kind of dog, you know, like mid, not gonna lie, Cap.
Kills the Guardian and then is about to fucking absolutely shit stomp Shion. We all know it. And then Colette's like, hey, you two fucking morons, knock it off. And this is where Wistoria lost me a little bit.
Where Colette just fucking goes full.
We already know she's a badass.
Yeah, clothes damage version figurine. Where it's just like, what happened to you? Last time I fucking checked, you were fighting Julius.
Yeah.
And ice doesn't do that to your fucking clothes. Like, right. What happened? What happened to your clothes? It doesn't make any sense.
What makes me mad is that, like, at one point, literally, Shion is fully engulfed in fire. Fully. His own fire. And if his clothes are fireproof, why is nobody else's clothes fireproof? What the fuck? Like, Will's just totally running around in his full clothing. Don't hypersexualize this shit for no fucking reason. It doesn't make sense. Don't do it. Why? Why do we need to do this? And we'll get to this with Failure Frame, because fuck that show too, okay?
The show understands that it's falling short.
Right.
So they're like, how do we
keep people engaged? Boners.
Yeah, and I don't, but it's not though. Like, I don't know. I'm not of the mind that I don't like that style of fan service for the sake of the fan service.
Right, I agree.
Like, don't put it in just randomly thinking that you're just going to pull the wool over my eyes and be like, oh, look at this boobs. Look at this. Don't look at the rest of how shitty the show is. Like, don't fucking insult me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if the manga had this scene also in it, but if so, it's also not a good scene. Like, this just, it doesn't, like, Colette saving the two of them could be the end of it. She doesn't need to be half naked. She doesn't need to be like her clothes burned. And it also, you punctured a hole in Julius punctured a hole in Will's coat. And if this is the case of the situation, you could also have had Will give her his coat just based on it being cold because Julius is freezing the forest too. There's other reasons. For all of these things to happen, you do not have to have her have like half of her clothes on burned. Like, fuck off.
So she came in as Hermione.
Okay.
Split up Harry and the fucking other guy. What's his name?
Fucking what the fuck, bro?
I don't watch Harry Potter.
I'm gonna let you sit with that for a second.
No, the redhead guy.
Ron fucking Weasley, you son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
How dare you?
I forgot. Yeah. Maybe if the teacher, you know, Snake teacher Severus Snape was just like
Dark Viper Mage.
Dark Viper Mage was just like Ronald Weasley, Wingardium Leviosa. And then I would have been like, oh yeah, I know exactly who that is. But yeah, she lives her Harry Potter dream of separating fucking Ron and Harry from fighting and rolling down a hill or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like Shion in his, you know, drowning in his endless pools of rage, just suddenly gets snapped back because he's like, oh, girl with fucking clothes that are ripped. Yeah. Oh no. And then he does like the telltale, like, I can't look, and then opens his fingers and is just like, oh, I can't stop looking.
Both hands down. You know, he's like, anyways, so they break up the fight, and then you've got an actual cool scene where Will's like, all right, listen, I'll beat your ass at a later date. You sit there and think about what you did, you stupid bitch. And then he just runs off and he fucking jumps over the fucking stadium walls of the center.
That's, yeah.
And fucking lands in the center as Julius. By the way, Julius has stopped all the other kids from getting close to the crown because of clones. That's how he did it. He cloned no jutsu.
His secret weapon was him just cloning himself. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got ice clones or some shit. And all the other kids were like mad about it. Except Wignall. Wignall blows it up.
Wind elf guy.
Yeah. He seems like a kind of cool character, maybe. I don't know.
No.
He's probably gonna be pretty boring.
Yeah.
Will jumps in, superhero lands, fucking stares at Julius. Episode ends with like a literal, like actually decent animated. Like it's not terribly animated, but he looks like Will looks mad and cool. And he's gonna fuck up Julius and his friends at the same time.
Number one, we've established that Will is physically superior to the other student.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm. With that being said, how the fuck are they keeping up with him when he's like full sprinting through the fucking gauntlet and everyone, Shion's just like, I've been playing your games for too long. Look at me. And then it's like, how did you even fucking keep up with him? Like, were you also running 1,000 miles an hour? And then again, Will is just like Superman jump from like 100 miles away into the stadium.
He turns into a plane, okay?
Yeah, and it's just like, well, why? Like, why did you just do that from the start? Right. I don't even.
Why didn't you skip everything?
And no one was like, holy shit, that man just jumped 100 miles into the air. They were just like, oh man, look at the laggard, dude. Like 100 miles, like I could jump 200 miles.
I feel like here's the thing: is that like when you have magic that can make you float, that make you like. You could shoot wind behind you and like fly fast in the air or some shit. Like everything seems super fucking normal. But like everything that you do as a normal human being, like cooking dinner, probably is like the easiest thing in the world. So like when Will jumps over the wall with his normal ass legs, everyone probably was like, yeah, that's normal. Wait, why did Will learn how to do magic? Yeah, well, whatever. I don't really care. Laggard. And then they just like go about their business, right?
So, yeah, I mean, like no one even bats an eye. So he just Superman lands in front of Julius. Julius is just like, that was fucking lame. And then everyone else was just like, oh man, laggard.
Yeah.
That was lame for you to jump in. Can't wait for Julius to beat you.
I swear to God, if one kid says in the next episode, Julius is going to win this fight, you shut the fuck up. We've just now established that Will's the strongest fucking kid in school, like by a large margin. Also, does nobody know that he literally scratched the Dark Viper Mage? Does nobody know that happened? Because like, fuck, dude. Like Will's doing all this.
Colette knows it happens.
Colette knows it happens because she threw him the sword, but like he saves Shion from the evil sentinel. I get it. I get why they still kind of think, but after this, they can't. You literally just jumped over the fucking stadium in front of your whole class. Like
it happened before because, originally Will was like, I'm not going to enter the mage tournament. Last time I did, like fucking it just didn't go well. So I assume something like this happened during the last tournament.
Yeah.
And then now it's like when Werkner first was like, oh no, Will, don't go. You can't do it. And then he's like, shut the fuck up, old man. And then he's like, oh, damn, he must be on a mission to get Julius. Yeah. After that, he just ran and, cleared all 5 areas in like half a second. Werkner's just like, that's Will, I guess. Yeah. Guess it's happening again.
Yeah.
So it definitely has happened before. Will just blew everyone out. And I guess everyone just wrote it off like, oh, man, must be fucking laggard powers, I guess.
Must have been the wind. I think hopefully Will and Julius have a cooler fight than him and Shion, because like that was obviously boring. But Julius's Kagebushin no Jutsu is going to be really, really annoying for me, at least. Like
the other thing, if he should only theoretically be able to use it once, because they established earlier in the series that when he was fighting the fucking Dark Sentinel or whatever the fuck, and Werkner was like, or was it during the Dark Sentinel? No, I think it was when he was fighting Dark Viper Mage, and the headmaster lady was like, Werkner, take a look at this. And then she showed the crystal ball and showed the fight. And Werkner's like, oh no, who agreed to this shit? And he's like, oh, Will has the ability to look at a spell once and know exactly how it works.
Yeah.
So theoretically, every single spell that is ever used by anyone ever, they only have one time that they can use it, and Will should be able to know like how it fucking works, because they established that that's how Will's brain works, or whatever the fuck.
Brother, 100% they don't remember typing that shit.
No, they don't. They don't remember that they put that in the fucking show. I know. Yeah. And those are the little details right there that separate like a shit show from a good show.
Hypothetically speaking, I'm saying that they don't remember, and you are also saying that. But they could turn around and show us that they do remember the little details, and we will go back, say we're wrong, and then give them their flowers for remembering that they said something specific.
Not quite yet, because if that was the case, then Shion should have only been able to cast his fireball once. But I don't know if they're trying to build suspense, and Will is just, I mean, granted, Will did dodge the fucking 360 no-scope fireball barrage or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. So granted, he did dodge it, but like it wasn't because like of his power. He was just like, I guess I'll just fucking run through. So does he not know he has this power, and Werkner's the only one that knows, and then Will is just fucking doing 360s? Or
Will has no fucking idea what is going on with him. All he has is his stupid goal of trying to hang out with his elf girlfriend. Like, that's literally it. That's all he cares about. And so I don't think Will has any foresight or hindsight into whatever is happening with him. He's like, I will get there in any way I possibly can. I will drag my fucking corpse across the finish line to get there. That's what he's basically saying. So I don't think he's really like that smart when it comes to that stuff. Common sense, investigating, learning about your own body, seeing your limits, all that stuff is stupid. That sounds dumb. And that's like something a smart person would do. Will, not smart when it comes to common sense. Anyways, so I don't think Wistoria is that bad right now. I know we harped on it a little bit, but to be honest, like, I'm having fun with the show. I think it is really going through the storyline really fast, but I think they're trying to avoid the Ragnar Crimson issue where it gets fucking boring as shit. And like, we talked about it. They killed like 3 elder dragons in like
the first like fucking like 5 episodes, I think.
They killed the 10th. They killed the 3rd, the wind one.
Yeah, they killed 3 like immediately. And then it was another 20 episodes before they started like killing anyone else again. I mean, technically they did kill him and then Ultimatia reverse time, so I guess it doesn't count.
Yeah. Oh God.
Wistoria's fine. Like right now, they're gonna have to pull out some crazy ass shit in the next like back 9 of this golf course that they're playing right now. But right now, like, I cannot see this redeeming itself. Like, unless it goes fucking ape shit.
Damn, Greg.
Like it's batting like 50-50 right now. It's just like the first 3 episodes I was on board. Last 3 episodes I'm just like, you kind of lost me.
I'm still on board.
For me it's trending downward. For you, you're saying it's
plateaued. It's plateaued for me. So like, okay. Like the first episode I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. The second episode I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested. The speed of this is like for someone with super ADHD. Me. And then the 3rd episode I was like, this is pretty all right. And then it just like kind of but like it's really hard for them to deal with a lot of these themes that they're going through when they're going so fast through it. That's fine.
As someone that's critiquing, I understand that. I understand the balance that you're trying to strike when you're creating a 12 episode anime and you're trying to fit so much content in. Mm-hmm. As a consumer, I don't give 2 shits because I'm here to watch the product that you created and that you were selling me. As like a reviewer, I understand, but as a viewer, I also understand, but I also don't care.
It's like, I get that you spent 7 hours cooking that meal, but it tastes like dog shit. Sorry.
Yeah,
You know, like
exactly.
you fucked up. And I understand that you spent so much time doing this, but I don't like it. I'm sorry.
And I mean, on dog shit and spending 7 hours cooking something that's actual trash, failure frame,
Boom!
failing at episodes 1 through 6. I will let you start if you want to touch on episode 5.
I do. So right here, I've got a frame here in chat just for you guys so you know. That is the 3D animation of the show. We talked about this before, where they're doing this thing where they have these characters completely 3D animated like they were like in a video game, like prepped already. And I assume they have them rigged so that they can move them the way they need to move. And they usually pan the camera backwards so that you can't really tell that it's like CG. But I can, because I play a lot of fucking video games. And the fluidity of the movement is not how they animate the show. So it's definitely a jarring experience. Now, I talked about this, like we talked about it with Wistoria, where Will, a 2D animation, is punching a 3D animation. Fine. Like, I get that. There's a lot more detail in 3D animation. That's what your focus is supposed to be on. The Will moving fast is cool. Done. Like, that scene doesn't need to last that long. But when you're just fucking standing there talking to each other in 3D animation, all I see is you trying to save money. That's all I see. Like, it's incredibly frustrating. I know you guys won't be able to hear this, but I'm going to play it out a little bit. Like, the movements are so jarring. And the rigging of like the movement and the head swaying, it's like, that's not animated. I know that's not it. I'm not fucking stupid. That was the end of episode 5. Take all your clothes off, because why? Go ahead.
No, you can go before you're gonna have to give me a runway after this. So yeah.
All right. Am I the what do they call it? The air traffic controller?
Yeah. Just direct my plane into the ground. Yeah.
Okay, Greg's taking a nosedive, and you're like, is the runway secure? And you're like, yep, just preparing for nosedive. Okay, so you've got asks Saris to get naked. Fucking weird, man.
At the end of episode 5.
Okay, again, like I said, I've read all of the manga that's available for this show as of right now, and this is something that continues to persist throughout the manga, but it's a little more sparingly. At the beginning, they're trying to establish that the world is corrupt and it's fucked up, and the only way they can do it is by alluding to R-word stuff. And it's really fucking stupid. It's so short-sighted. You could show that the world is terrible. You could show that like poverty is rampant and that people are awful to each other. R-word does not need to be the first and foremost thing. It's like the easy way out, you know? Like, oh, I could just say that everybody's really into R-word stuff and then everybody knows that the world's awful. It's like, okay, like, is the entirety of this world completely sexually charged? So, they get the dragon chalice, and Saris is like, I'm gonna go get this thing sold or whatever. I don't know, appraised, I guess. And so that people know it's the real chalice and I can get some whatever.
Yep.
And so she leaves.
300 gold is what she's going to get.
She doesn't need to do that. He's got the fucking gold or the fucking blue eyes white dragon gems. Like, what the fuck? He's got a whole bag of them. And they're worth more than, she says that they're worth more than the dragon chalice. She literally doesn't need to do this thing at all. But she goes and does this thing because the writing is bad. And then she walks off and she's like, oh, and this maid, she's like, they don't even animate this. Oh my God, I'm fucking mad about this. They don't even animate it. In the manga, they show like a little bit of like the scene where he walks in and she's like, oh shit, that is somebody from the Black Dragons that might like get through I made my ears into human ears. All of a sudden I'm Superman, Clark Kent. Nobody knows who I am. You know, like that whole thing. And then he walks in, you see the mage, and then she's all of a sudden on the run. And that's it. That's it, like in the show. And then they're like, oh, here's Civet Garland, who is the fucking greatest dude in humanity's sake.
Strongest of all humanity or something,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that what his...
He is okay. So also in the manga, they go into his backstory a little bit, I think, after his death. So I don't know if they're going to do that in the show. Obviously,
humanity's strongest.
Spoiler alert, he gets fucking railed. And he's literally useless. Like, oh my God, it was so fucking frustrating reading it, let alone watching it. I'm just like, dude, like these characters you're trying to establish, all this show is to me is a fucking money grab. That's what it is to me.
Yeah, maybe I should have set the runway for you, man.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me explain why I think this show is a money grab. Like the show, the storyline's not that great. The isekai genre doesn't need another, you know, like, and all of the characters, like the, what's her name? Sarah's being sexually charged and like being like a comic relief. Like she's like, they talk about her like she's this cool character and she's super strong and like, oh my God, she's such a badass. And then she's just boobs the character. Like, and they show it fucking regularly where they're like, she pulls out her sword and like the camera goes down and then back up. And you're like, hey, fuckwad, you didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, the biggest thing that bugs me about Saris?
What's that?
She wears her backpack inside of her cape, so it looks like she's a turtle.
That was pretty funny to me. It reminded me of like high school when you didn't want to get your backpack wet, so you put your sweatshirt over the backpack and try and wear it at the same time, so you can't like zip it up, or your hoodie. That is at the end of episode 6, so I'm still harping on the whole fucking show right now. So my issue is that, like I said, the writing isn't there. The animation, not super great. The CG, whatever. The character development, sure. All of his powers require nothing of an animator at all. Paralysis, berserk, poison. You literally color change characters and you see it. You see it when he poisons the characters like as of recently, they turn purple. Like it's fucking Final Fantasy 3.
It's literally LARPing the anime because he's just like, sleep. And then the guys are just like, oh, I guess like, oh, and then I'm just like paralyzed and like, oh, I just have to stop moving. You're literally playing red light, green light.
Yeah.
You know, with everyone around you.
And you don't have to animate anything. If you cast a wind spell or cast an armor spell, you like show a shimmer or do something, right? Or like the wind like fucking rips somebody apart. The only thing they animated throughout these 2 episodes, like legit animated, was Civic Garland throwing his spear into that dude's head and blowing his brains apart. But they didn't even animate the girl losing her hand. Sakura early in the episode loses her hand and she's just sitting there with her fucking hand like in her hand. She's like, oh my God, my hand. And then Ayaka's like, don't worry, we'll get the goddess to reattach it. And then she has like that meeting and she's like, yeah, we'll reattach it because she's B class. But if she's anything below that, we're just going to let her die. Also, we got a memo that says like the heroes are supposed to just die if they're not useful. So you figure that out, right? You're good. You're going to team up with everybody. And she's like, no, I want to do it myself. And she's like, okay, well, fucking good luck, I guess. Fucking nerd. And then like, that's it.
I know we're establishing the goddess is bad, right? Everyone real like, I mean, if you didn't get it from the literal like first 2 minutes from episode 1, they're totally just like leaving the breadcrumbs.
The perfect face on screen for all the R wording that's going on in the show. This is how all dudes look at women. It's with the fucking eyebrow up. I'm a creep.
Even Civic's like right-hand man, I think it's actually the same guy, but he just has an eye patch. And then he's just like, should we just pass around all women in the world to our soldiers so they can have fun with them? And then we'll kill them. It's like, yeah, oh, that sounds normal.
Yeah.
Yep, all normal stuff that everyone fucking says.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Your runway is clear for crash landing, Greg.
So episode 6, I want to apologize to our listeners. The correct thing to do as an individual, that if you are wrong, that you should admit that you are incorrect, accept the consequences of you being incorrect. And that is exactly what I'm doing right here, right now. I made the prediction that Piggy Maru was going to become Saris's new clothes after having the slime enhancement that Memori gave to it. Yeah. I just assumed that it would be completely normal. that if you ask a girl to take off her clothes, you're going to replace them with something way better. And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Because Mamori was just like, Saris, get naked. And she's all like, what? Like, oh, dear me. Like, oh, what do you, well, whatever do you mean?
Yeah.
And then he's just like, here's some other clothes. And she's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, people have seen you in those ones, so just put on different ones.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, by the way, as you're getting naked, putting your clothes on, you remind me of my aunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh, man.
Cool. Yeah, this is all fucking
Super normal.
Tracking so far. So I'm sorry, everyone. I made a prediction that was incorrect. Mamori's just a dumb piece of shit and just gave her regular clothes. And instead of giving her Piggy-Maru clothes, he decides to just fucking wrap Piggy-Maru dicks around himself, in and around his eyes and his face, and use it as some fucking range extender so he could fucking take people to paralyze Poison Pound Town. At any range, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, as we said before, after he just gives Saris normal clothes and just says like, hey, you just remind me of my like...
You remind me of my aunt with your naked elf body.
Your naked elf body reminds me of my aunt that adopted me after my mom's husband had a million kids with her and then beat me.
Beat the shit out of me, yeah.
Yeah, that's who you remind me of. And she's like, oh man, what an honor. It's like, yep, sounds great. Anyway, Civet fucking launches a spear through fucking the dude's brains. Yeah. And he's like, hey, yo, man, stop talking about the Emperor and what Saris had going with the Emperor. And then Saris, I guess, is just fucking oblivious, is just like, I don't understand. Why is everyone chasing me? And then Civet's like, I guess let me pick up where the guy I killed left off. Pretty much you have this fucking weird ass scene.
Literally useless killing that guy. Literally useless.
Yeah, like he could have just explained it, but then he kills him, so now he can explain it. And then apparently Saris was part of some Emperor's army.
She was the head of the Emperor's army of like that group. And then he like creepily falls in love with her. And he's like, you've returned the vigor to my penis. And you have to die.
Basically, she was like the paladin captain for this Emperor Ortis guy or whatever. And then the Emperor was just like, I need to bang Saris. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Saris like ran away. And then he's like, I can't bear to think of another man banging her but me. So the only logical conclusion is to send the Black Dragon Knights after her to kill her so no other man can bang her before me.
Before I die.
Yeah. So that is again, right? Like highlighting all of this. And then as Civet tells the story, you know, I didn't even write these fucks' name. I did write their names down. That was a lie.
Ortola is the guy's name.
But it doesn't matter because he literally dies immediately. So Schweitz is a guy with the eye patch, yep. Mm-hmm. And then he's just like, after Civet finishes the story, and Saris is like, I can't believe this. My Emperor wants to kill me because he wanted to bang me, but doesn't want anyone else to bang me. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then Saris is just like, oh, well, our orders are to kill her, but maybe we should just pass her around to all the soldiers so they get their jollies on.
He meant Schweitz, by the way.
I'm like, cool, okay. You're like, let's all get our jollies, boys, because this is what this show is about.
Literally everything that Given, or whatever his name is, says, they repeat an episode later. Exactly. Like verbatim.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking stupid. Like, there's no actual tension here. This does not matter. You repeating these things that this other guy said that you killed doesn't make it any worse because you're just stupid.
You've already used up the power of the R word.
Yeah.
Because right now, I have zero fear that anyone is going to get R-worded.
Right.
Like, you're throwing it around as if it's this big, scary thing. But if no one is R-ing anyone, then it's like, why do you keep saying it? Like, why is it even here? Why is it even part of the story?
I'm going to intercept your plane. I'm going to refuel. I'm refueling your plane so you can continue. Here's the thing. Goblin Slayer, as much as I hated the beginning of Goblin Slayer, they establish early on that it's possible and it's detrimental to people.
Yes.
And then they go about the rest of the story. It is a shock value thing. And they could have put it later in the show after you establish, hey, like we've gotten this Goblin Slayer dude, he's awesome, but he can't save everybody. Watch this. This is crazy, right? This is fucked up. Now we're on board. I didn't like the way they put it at the beginning of the show. That's why I said I think it's shock value. But they established that in Goblin Slayer. In this show, they've established that everyone's a fucking creep, and then they continue down that road over and over and over again, especially at the end of this episode. I was reading the manga panels. I sent Greg the manga panel of Kiki Pat, Nikomaru, Nyan, whatever her name is, licking the goddess's feet. And when it happens, it's just so fucking stupid because it's animated better than anything in the rest of the show. It makes me so mad.
I am refueled. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Goblin Slayer thing actually is a perfect example because they do use it. Mm-hmm. They show it. Mm-hmm. And immediately you know that it's like whenever you see goblins and whenever you see ladies in the same room, you have that fear that is going to happen. And even the characters themselves know it.
Yeah.
And even the characters know that is a possibility and they are terrified of it. And as a viewer, I am also terrified that it is going to happen. So that is a good example of this word. They actually didn't even say the word. They just showed it. Yeah, so it's like of this thing happening and basically like setting a precedence without going too crazy. Because yes, I agree with you. Whenever I recommend Goblin Slayer to anyone, I say episode 1's pretty rough, but they don't do it again. Mm-hmm. So, like it is one of those things like don't let the first episode throw you off.
Right.
They're literally just setting the foundation hard and fast.
Yeah.
So after that, they set that precedence and then it is always lingering in the background. Mm-hmm. And in Failure Frame, it is not lingering. It doesn't exist. And if anything, it's just pissing me off. Not because that they are doing it on purpose to piss me off. They think that they are portraying some sort of like subhuman activities that all of these men are just infatuated with. It's like, no, you're just fucking pissing me off because nothing is happening. All you're doing is giving me a bunch of words, and I'm not saying I want to see it, but there is no action. There is no proof that literally any of these guys are to anyone. It's just a bunch of homies in the locker room just saying like, hey, yo, this girl's hot. The guy's like, yeah. And then Memoria is just like paralyzed, poison. And then the guys are dead. And then now they're dead.
Well, also, like I said before, they're not establishing like any other negative things that are happening in the world. Like they're so centered around these characters that the only thing they can do is tell, not show. And so you don't see like the Black Dragon Knights in a bar fucking drunk, like slapping the maiden ass. You know what I mean? Like they're just sitting there in front of Saris, telling Saris, and everybody else does this in front of Saris. They've done it a couple times now where they're like, we're going to hard word you. We're going to get you. And it's like, dude, is this fucking like, is this Deliverance in Alabama or wherever? Anyway, sorry. That's an ancient reference. I'm so sorry. I'm so old. Like, at least, what was it? Pulp Fiction. They established some moments where you were like, oh, that probably went really bad for them. You know what I mean? They didn't show anything, but they alluded to the aftermath of it. And it's like this show is pulling all punches and pulling all dialogue and pulling storyline. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Why? And that's why I say I think that this show's a cash grab.
I don't disagree. As the cash grab, also known as a fake out, which is what Memori did to Civet. So as Civet is basically humanity's strongest. Yep. And now, after meeting Memori, has no interest in Saris anymore.
Literally zero.
I am now interested in boys. And then basically Memori is like, hey, I got this really good idea. I'm just going to tell him that I got to get ready and he'll leave and then we're going to get out of here. So he's just like, hey, yo, like, you want to fight strong people, right, Civet? He's like, yeah, that's the only thing that gets my jollies. And then he's like, well, get this. I'm going to go get stronger. And then after that, you can come find me, big boy. And he's like, oh, can't wait for that. Like, you're a deal.
Yeah.
And then the other guys are like, hey, we're supposed to kill Saris. And he's like, shut the fuck up. I'm going to get my jollies with Mamori. Don't ever make me repeat myself again. And they're like, damn, yeah, I guess you're right, Civet.
Yep.
And then after that, Civet's like, okay, you got a deal. I'm going to come for that later, big boy. And then he gets on his fucking dragon, and Mamori is like, pound town. And they're like, what? Then they turn around, and guess what? They can't move. And then Civet's like, Mamori, what have you done?
You're right.
And then he's like, poison pound town. And then everyone's just like dying now.
Yeah.
But Civet is just like, oh, fuck you, Mamori. And he's moving. And Mamori's like, damn, look at that guy move. He's just hurting himself some more. And then the other Black Dragon riders are like, holy shit, why is everyone not moving in purple? And then Civet is just like, get them.
Yeah.
Don't get in his range. And then that's when Mamori is like, spoiler alert, you've always been in my range.
Yeah.
And then just fucking from his crotch, just Piggy Maru, just tentacles fly out. And then they just fucking go to each one of the fucking Dragon Knights. And then he's just like, paralyzed, poison, sleep. And then after that, they all just fall out of the sky, fucking die. And Saris is just standing there like, damn, this is weird.
Yeah, this is crazy.
After that, fucking he levels up. And he's just like, well, he doesn't level up because he can't get experience from killing people. So he uses the spells against the people, and then using the spell will level up, but he as an individual will not gain experience. So he gets to level 3 sleep. Then it's like, look at this. You've unlocked all sorts of different spells, freeze, darkness, and berserk. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I wonder what these do. So he uses the remaining Dragon Knights as fucking guinea pigs, and he casts fucking darkness on some guy. And the guy's like, I can't see. Yeah. And he's like, guess that blinds. And then he casts berserk on a guy, and the guy's like, oh, I gotta move. He's like, well, guess it makes him move. I don't even think he tested out freeze because
he hasn't yet.
It's more self-explanatory than darkness and berserk, I guess.
Spoiler alert, it's not.
Okay, I assume it freezes.
It does, but it's stupid.
Okay, cool. Well, it doesn't matter. He gets new spells, he tests them out, and then, he's basically just like forcing these paralyzed knights to move to like kill them faster, and then they're dead. So humanity's strongest, Mr. Civet, just got fucking
died in an episode.
Paralyzed poison pound town by Mamori, while Saris is just like, oh no, I can't take your offer of escorting you to the Golden City. And then he's just like, hey, yo, you like Blue Eyes White Dragon? She's like, yeah, I can't get enough. And then he's like, here, just take the whole bag. And she's like, but I haven't done anything to deserve this. And he's just like, you know what? Just fucking take it. You remind me of my aunt. Nothing matters.
When he says, thank you for sticking by, or thank you for being here and protecting me, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, you fucking idiot. Like, everyone in this room knows, including the viewer, that she did nothing except stand there and be objectified by a bunch of Black Dragon Knights. It's so silly to me that this show is trying so hard to like establish her as a strong quote unquote character, and instead, are you all right, Greg? Are you dying?
I had to close the door and because I'm gonna yell some more.
Okay. All right. Cleared for landing, Greg.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because they established this as well. Like, the only people that gain experience in this world are the ones that are isekai'd in, aka the students and the fucking perv teacher and fucking that's it, right? These are the people that gain experience.
The perv teacher dies, right?
He hasn't died yet.
I literally not in the manga anymore.
Oh, he's probably going up to random ladies and just being like, oh, like, man, I gotta get my jollies. I'm gonna R you. And then just leaves. Yeah. He doesn't actually do it. He just says it because that's all they do in the show. Apparently all males, that's all that happens. Yeah. All males in the history of this entire world, besides Mamori, have been taught like a vocabulary of like 3 words, which is just like, I'm gonna R. That's it. That's like all they've been taught.
Yeah.
So maybe we as viewers just don't understand their language. They're probably just asking for directions to the nearest soup kitchen or like orphanage where they can donate.
Right.
It just comes out like this and we just assume. Jeez. But yeah. So anyway, no one else is leveling up. So you just assume that number one, the isekai students are stronger than any normal person there because they can level up. Everyone else is just kind of stuck in the normal ways of the world where they have to like do push-ups and shit.
Yes, that's what it is. For you to become stronger, you still have to overcome your adversity in this world, but it doesn't give you like a readout of like what level you are and how much mana you have. Like, I think that the isekai people, part of whatever, you know, goddess program is running in the background or some shit. I don't understand it. And it's not like it gets fucking explained.
Oh, dude, don't even. Yeah, I'm going to go into something else later. It doesn't get explained, right? So Mamori right now,
he's level like 1500.
Yeah, like he's like 1389 or something. And then when it cuts to the other students, they haven't even crested like 50 yet.
Ayaka's 55.
And it's just like, he is so fucking far ahead. It doesn't even matter. Like the title of the show, what level he is, and how things are already going. You know how the show is going to end. It's going to end with a paralyzed poison. Just how it began. That's the show. Mm-hmm. I don't even actually know why we need any more episodes, because what, like, even for Mamori, a guy that literally figured out all of the intricacies of magic instantly, when you fucking get dropped into this fucking shit ass dungeon, but you don't understand yet that like you literally are the strongest dude in the entire world. So why are you even fucking like asking for an escort? Why are you even doing any of this shit? Why are you even pretending? You're pretending now. It doesn't fucking matter. But you know who isn't pretending?
Kiki Pat, Nyan Nikomaru, whatever.
Yes, she is not pretending to mlem some goddess feet at the end of the episode. So yeah, if you are just a fucking failure frame fanboy like myself, you watch the credits, and then at the very end, you are rewarded with some fluck flum lem lem. You know, you just got to, every time you see Ceres, you're just thinking your brain like, man, this is a reward for you, because now you're just like, goddess feet. Where did this fucking come from? It's the same as the R word. You're basically... You're using these shit illustrations to show that the goddess is bad. Not like you couldn't fucking figure it out in the first episode where she just tries to delete Mamori for being an E-class hero. Like, oh, you didn't figure it out then? Oh, it must be bad because she's asking a cat girl to lick her feet. That's why she's bad. Fuck me. Everything else she's done, like, is completely passable for, like, a goddess stuff. I thought she was just a fucking saint. But no, the second that fucking some cat girl mlems her fucking feet, that's when it just, unforgivable. She's evil.
It's fucking stupid. And I wholeheartedly agree that the frustration of the show is an accidental segue for really shitty fan service. And it's not like,
and the fan service isn't
not even good. Not at all. Zero things about the fan service are good.
Or the show.
Yeah, agreed. We've got Wistoria, which Greg thinks is kind of falling off. There's weird fan service going on there. And then you've got Failure Frame, which I think is just an accident. I'd literally, like, when you have a show that is out, that is being shown, that is being, like, on the air for 2 seasons now, like Jobless, and then you have this. What the fuck are we doing? You're not even playing in the same playground as Jobless is.
You know what happened with this show?
What's that?
I think I figured it out. I think the writer was actually isekai'd from, like, the 1700s. So when he is making this show, he's like, oh man, what is like super racy? Like, oh, maybe I'll have her show an ankle. And like, oh dear. Like, don't show too much skin.
Ceres' boob window, the character. So, you know, like, yeah.
And again, right, like, I don't like fan service for the sake of fan service.
Yeah.
Like, the fan service has to be there for a reason. And for me, that's why, you know, shows like Immoral Guild, Gushing, those shows actually stand out is because, yes, it is ridiculous. Yes, it is crazy fan service. But the story is actually built off of those events happening.
Right.
So they have as much, if you like or dislike fan service, it doesn't matter. Those events happen and they work towards progressing the story. And that's why it's important.
Yeah.
These events are not progressing.
They're random.
Fucking shit.
They're random and fucking stupid.
Like this, I guess you can argue that the goddess making this poor fucking cat girl that I have no idea where she came from,
Nobody
lick
knows.
her feet. I guess you can claim, yes, it's pushing the character forward of the goddess, but you can't because we've already established that her character is bad from the other events that happened within these 6 episodes. Like, you don't need to continue to add these.
Let me argue on behalf of the show real quick. I'm gonna play some devil's advocate. So far up until this point, the goddess has been like, look, you're weak, you gotta go. That's pretty much it. And then this character is like, oh, I'm not weak, I'm actually awesome, I made it through the dungeon, go fuck yourself, I'm gonna kill you. So, like, in essence, she is trying to fight a war against the Demon King. That's what she needs. She needs strong people, and she can't find them here. That's pretty much it. And this demon army that is going to come and bust a nut all over the human world or whatever it is way stronger than even the heroes are right now, but they won't take the fucking liberty to establish that. So, like, they've got, like, oh, one girl that's a B-class hero's got her hand chopped off, but also reattached because there are no consequences. Later on, you could establish this, but it takes so long for it to be established here in general that it just seems like it's just like, oh, this story is fucking boring. Like, that's what it is, and it sucks. And then they further establish that she's a bad or a negative impact on the world by this scene right here. It's not that she didn't heal the girl. It's not that she doesn't care about the heroes at all and proves it in a constant way. It's that some cat girl licks her feet. Some cat girl in lingerie, by the way.
If we take the story at face value, yes, there is some sort of Demon King army that they have to defend against, like you said. Bust a nut on the humanity, I think is what you said.
Yeah, verbatim.
That's what we are led to believe as viewers. And also, I guess, the students are led to believe. Now, I don't doubt that there's going to be some weird fucking reverse. And maybe this is just me giving the show too much credit, because I thought Momori was going to give Sarah some really cool clothes, but no, he's just like, here's some more peasant clothes, go put them on, bitch. I'm going to wear Piggy Maru and fly away.
He gives her the elf clothes that are more revealing somehow.
It doesn't matter, right? So I made a wrong prediction. So I may make another wrong prediction right here, because I feel like I don't think that there's a demon army they have to fight. I think that the goddess is the demon king. Or queen, in this case. This whole raising of the isekai heroes is probably some, like, reverse bullshit where we know that they're not going to escape. If they, like, complete their mission, she's not going to send them back to their world, because when Momori was in the dungeon, that's what happens to all the heroes. They get sent to the dungeon of disposal, and they all fucking die. So we know that none of these students are going back. You know, she could just be telling the truth about this Demon King thing, and then after the Demon King's done, she throws him in the dungeon. But I think it's different than that. I think that she herself is the demon queen, and then people maybe try to come kill her, and then she uses those students to basically fight the good guys, which are perceived as the bad guys by the kids.
But your theory's already gone, because they already established that the goddess has been helping the humanity, right? And that they themselves already revere the goddess to a certain extent. So they know who she is. And, like, it's weird, because it can still be that she is the demon queen, true. They have not even, like, at the manga, I can't even say whether you're right or wrong, because I don't know. But it's like, this is what this show is that there's no actual trickle down of, like, hey, we're world building and we're explaining what's going on and we're giving you these little tidbits. even if you're just the viewer that knows that and the characters don't know it themselves, and you have something to be excited about, the character learning about this in the future. No. It's like all you are shown is what is happening in Mamori in front of him and what decisions he makes based on that. And that is it. That is literally it. And it's fucking boring because like you also have another character that is traversing this world trying to do good by it, Ayaka, and she's also like in the struggle and trying to help her classmates. And like that is a much more interesting story. Like Mamori is just over here just like you said, Greg, paralyzed, poison, pound town. And then this other character, Ayaka, is struggling because she's an S-class hero. Apparently she's incredibly powerful, but she doesn't know why. And she has to find out why. So she's fighting monsters, trying to save her classmates, trying to do right by everybody. She's trying to literally carry the world on her shoulders that she was given. And we're not following that storyline. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Watch this goddess get her feet licked.
You know what else? Apparently the writers don't give a fuck about.
What's that?
Is this fucking leather bag that spawns Doritos and Mountain Dew and just like feeds it to Mamori and it's never revisited. That was it. He literally is in a dungeon. He gets a magic bag that spawns fucking like game fuel and like fucking Cooler Ranch Doritos and he uses it to like, you know, fuel his late nights of fucking paralyzed poison.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've completely forgot about it too. So
anyway, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. They've established nothing matter. Failure frame, bold, italicized, underlined, 72-point font failure.
Yeah.
That is this show. And they are going to have to skibbity riz toilet something out of their asses to make this fucking more than a 1 out of 10.
I don't know. Because obviously I know what's going on. I don't even know how far season 1's going to get into the show. And I don't even know if it's going to get renewed for a second season. Bro, literally, here's the thing with anime that always like makes it so weird for me is that I literally don't know when these shows are doing well. Because like anime is obviously niche still in America. But like if I talked to a Japanese person and I was like, hey, have you watched Failure Frame? How's it doing over there? Are people talking about it? Is it getting figurines? Is there artwork of it? Are there scrolls? Like, are there wall scrolls? Anything of that shit? No? Yes? Maybe? I don't fucking know. Like, there's just a fucking a wall scroll of fucking Nekopara Kiki Pat licking fucking feet.
That actually might exist.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah. So there we go. I think that is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like they did go on some sort of hiatus because they were releasing once per week. They should be coming out Thursday, I believe, with a new episode. So I think Thursday, new episode, and then they go back to every week release schedule. So they must have had a hiatus here in the middle. So looking forward to more Failure Frame and Wistoria Wand and Sword.
Yeah.
We will follow those.
Sorry we didn't get to my dear friend Nokotan.
I don't hate it. And I think if you do kind of like that slapstick comedy, more, I'd probably say Japanese pop culture comedy style stuff. You know, tongue-in-cheek things with deer. I personally hate deer, especially deer in Japan. And it's funny, some of these locations that they talk about in the show I've actually been to, and I hate deer. The Japanese deer.
Why are Japanese deer, are they worse than American deer?
Well, I don't know what hunting is like in Japan or if it's even a thing. But the places I've been to, like the deer are considered sacred, so they can almost just fucking do whatever they want. So there's just deer literally just like walking around. I've seen deer literally like go up to kids and just steal their food and eat it in front of them. And the kids just cry, and then the deer just does it. And then the mom is just like, this is how it is here, I guess. And then that's pretty much it. I've seen the deer bite people, get them to drop the food, pick up the food, and just eat it in front of them. And you as a person can't do anything because like in this area that you're in, they're like considered, you know, more or less sacred animals. And it's awful. Some people like it, I guess, apparently, because over here. Because it exists and it's a thing, and you know, it's the places in the show and the things they talk about in the show like are definitely based on reality.
Yeah, like the deer has done something stupid, and then so they've written this character to be like the all-encompassing stupid deer.
Yeah, like the deer can do no wrong, basically.
Love it. All right. Well, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of funny.
It is a silly show. I would actually kind of relate it to Space Dandy a little bit.
Oh, okay.
More or less, they are short stories. And the characters do progress through the episodes. So,
Okay.
if they do introduce a character, that character will appear in another episode. Kind of like Space Dandy. You kind of had the core set of people, but then you had the sub characters like the girls from Boobies or whatever.
Okay.
They would show up and you would know who they are. So it's kind of like that to me, anyway, is how I feel. It's kind of like a short story, comedic, silly show that I think fits the niche. I don't think it's bad at all. I think if you like that kind of stuff, you're going to love it.
Well, friends, thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for checking out the Anime Book Club. Greg, moral of the story?
Moral of the story. So this actually spawned from Wistoria.
Okay.
And the feud between Shion and Will. Just communicate.
Just fucking communicate, dudes. Please.
It looks really stupid, Will and Shion.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is completely asinine. It's nuts.
It's fucking stupid.
Shion's basically like, read my mind, and Will's like, I'm an idiot. And then now they're basically fighting because neither of them are doing what the other one wants them to do. And this is actually classic, like, almost like relationship stuff. I feel like this happens a lot where one side wants you to read their mind and they drop little hints. The other side doesn't pick up on the hints because, they're brain dead like me. Instead of playing that game, just talk to each other.
Yeah.
Don't hide your feelings. Don't assume, because that's what Shion did. Shion assumed that when Will went to go look at the tower, that meant, I never want to be your friend. Stay the fuck away from me.
Right.
That's how Shion read it. And that was a bad assumption, because that's not what Will meant at all. Will is just also not communicating, where he just wants to look at the tower because that's where he wants to be. In the end, that's his goal in life. And I'm sure if he just told Shion about it, they could have just worked together and like gotten there together and just been best friends. But instead, they both didn't fucking say shit. And then now Shion is just living this weird fucking warped view of the world in his own mind, that Will is some guy that doesn't even see him and he wants him to see him because be proud of me, daddy. I've gotten so powerful. Yeah, just don't assume. Be honest about what you like and don't like. And, with everyone, with your friends, with your family. Because if you don't, you might just shoot firebirds at each other, and then you'll need some girl named Colette to come with ripped up, damaged clothing to stop your bickering and get you back on the right path.
Craig,
so there you go.
Craig.
That's the moral of the story.
That's a really good moral of the story. Friends, appreciate you. Greg, do you want to thank anybody before we...
I want to thank Civet for being the strongest of all humanity, and then just taking a paralyzed poison pound town like a champ.
Thanks, Civet Garland, for really sacrificing yourself for humanity. You really fucking nailed it, dude.
Strongest of all of us.
Fucking nailed it. Thank you, friends, for checking out the Anime Book Club podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
And if you don't want to miss the next one, follow us on the socials where we announce new episodes, content, and other cool stuff. You can also check out our anime list with our rankings and follow along with what we're currently watching and what we have watched in the past.
All the links are in the description. See you in the next one. Bye!